What happens to the heart during atrial fibrillation is that it is an irregular, chaotic heart rhythm. We have 4 chambers of our heart, and atrial fibrillation particularly affects these top chambers. In a normal, healthy heart, we actually see it all contract together. It squeezes that blood from the top chamber down to the bottom chamber, and then that bottom chamber then contracts and pushes that blood to the rest of the body. In atrial fibrillation, we don't have a full contraction, which then reduces the amount of blood that we can then push around to the rest of the body. The symptoms that people with atrial fibrillation can experience are palpitations, shortness of breath, fatigue, something called exercise intolerance, which is a difficulty to do their everyday activities. They can feel dizziness or fainting. In Australia, it's about 2% of the population will actually experience AF, so it's quite a large number of people. And worldwide, we're starting to see that's actually forming into a bit of a global epidemic because the numbers of atrial fibrillation tend to increase every single year. You have some people who have very rare episodes. It might happen a couple of times a year, for instance, but then we also have people who are experiencing atrial fibrillation for hours or days on end, or if not in a permanent state of being in atrial fibrillation. The reason that atrial fibrillation is quite dangerous is because when our top chamber can't actually contract properly, our blood actually slows down in that top chamber, and it actually allows for blood clots to easily form in that part of the heart, which then increases our risk of strokes substantially. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, we'll go up to usual jogging pace, all right? So at the moment, I'm currently conducting an exercise study here at Deakin. A lot of the research in the past in atrial fibrillation has really focused on the heart, and we don't know a lot about what else is happening in the wider cardiovascular system, which could actually, in fact, be impacted by this condition. So what we are seeing in our preliminary findings is that actually people living with atrial fibrillation actually have far lower blood flow in their muscle compared to those who don't live with atrial fibrillation, which actually might be a bit of a key to unlocking some of the signs and symptoms that they actually experience, particularly the fatigue, the shortness of breath, and the exercise intolerance that they experience. So what we're looking at here is your thigh muscle here over the top. All these bubbles here are showing us actually all your small blood vessels here in your thigh muscle. One of the key benefits that we are starting to see from emerging research is that if a person engages in regular exercise, and it's usually these people who have been couch potatoes beforehand and starting to get involved in exercise, is that they do experience less time in being in atrial fibrillation and experiencing less episodes. So it's really great to see very early evidence coming out showing this. We also know it improves their quality of life, their ability to do their everyday activities. It also improves their overall fitness, mental well-being, and we're also beginning to find out that it also can improve the many risk factors that a lot of these individuals present with, which actually then progress the actual condition. So the fact that exercise has a plethora of benefits and not just a sort of one pill, just sort of targeting one thing, as a pretty incredible thing about exercise.